Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and the big question on everybody's mind at the moment, apart from when is Nintendo going to announce the Switch 2, is should Sony release another handheld console? And it's one of those questions where you have to look back in history. Look at the PSP, look at the Vita. The Vita at this point is over 12 years old. And if we look all the way back in time, it's crazy just to think that, wow, 12 years since the Vita came out. Where's it going to go in the future? That's insane to think about for Sony and the handheld market. Now, if we look at the PSP, there was a big demand for the PSP when that first came about, and it was a novelty because at this point, the only real handhelds we'd had, or the most popular ones, were from Nintendo. Yes, Sega had a go at it, and yeah, the Game Gear was kind of cool, but Nintendo, at the point of the PSP, was mastering handheldery, if that's even a word. They had the DS, and then the 3DS was coming out soon, and then the 3DS, etc. You know, Nintendo dominated the handheld market. Sony saw an opportunity in the PSP, and they took it, and then they did it again with the Vita. For me, the Vita was way ahead of its time. I really, really love the Vita. But keep in mind, the Vita was actually 5 years before the Switch. I guess people didn't really know they wanted a handheld at that point. Maybe they were all handhelded out with the 3DS and the DS. Who knows? But then the Switch came out and it turned everybody's heads. There is an argument to say the Switch is not a handheld. There is an argument to say that it is a home console. Obviously, to me, I think it's a hybrid. It can be used handheld. It can be used as a home console. I mainly use it as a home console. I don't really use it as a handheld. So something like the Vita, sorry, not the Vita, the, the Switch Lite, that's what I'm referring to, the Switch Lite, that is a dedicated handheld console, and okay, fair enough. With the Switch 2 on the horizon, it's likely that Nintendo are going to do the same thing. Handheld, hybrid, home console, all that. It'll work. Well, we assume it'll work anyway. And then we have the PlayStation Portal, and I think that's sold better than Sony were even expecting. I've not been able to get hold of one yet myself. I hope to get hold of one at some point. I like the idea of it. The only downside is you need a PS5 to play it, and you need a good internet connection wherever you are and at home if you're out and about traveling the world and you want to play on your PlayStation 5 via your Portal. Now, since the Portal came out, it's clear that there is a demand for people who want to play things like PS5 games on the go. Me, personally, I wouldn't see it as my primary way of playing, but it'll be a novelty and it'll be something I'd like to do, which is why I still would like to get hold of the Portal. We are several years away from being able to see something like that be a real product. Even if Sony begin on this now, it likely won't even come out until the middle of the PlayStation 6 cycle. So all the rumours, yes, they may say that Sony is making a handheld console, and they probably are. But it doesn't mean to say that it will see the market. It doesn't mean to say that we'll ever see it. Good example would be the Nintendo Switch that they tried doing, the Pro version, whatever, but that never saw the light of day. Now, it could be argued that Nintendo were never even trying that, but come on, really? Of course they would be. They love the Nintendo Switch family of consoles, and they'll do anything to make it. But by the time they perfected this Switch Pro, it may as well have just been the Nintendo Switch 2. And for all we know, the Nintendo Switch Pro is just the Nintendo Switch 2, just maybe a little bit more powerful, but whatever. This isn't a Nintendo Switch video, it's a PlayStation video. Now, the idea of playing something like a PlayStation 4 game on a handheld device doesn't seem too far-fetched at this point. We might just be a couple of years away from that, but playing a PlayStation 5 game might take a little bit longer. Yes, there is the argument of saying that PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, oh, there's not much difference there, Jimmy. It just looks the same, it plays the same. Well, okay, yeah, fair enough. But let's take something like the new Ghost of Yotei. Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima 2. Is it Yotei? It's pronounced Yotei, isn't it? Could you imagine that running on a handheld device? That is a PlayStation 5 game. Look back, let's look at, I don't know, The Last of Us Remastered, not the remake one that they did, not the part 1. The original one that was on PS3, and then they remastered it on PS4. The difference between Ghost of Yotei and Last of Us Remastered, although they look good, I would say is intense. There is a drastic difference between the two, and it'd be quite obvious which one would be more likely to be played on a handheld. Now, that's not to say that all these games coming out, like Grand Theft Auto 6, for example, there's no saying that one day that won't be played on a handheld device. You've got to look at history. Whoever thought that you'd be able to see Super Mario 64 on a handheld device way back in 1996? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, you see my point. So, do I think Sony should release a handheld? No. No. After all my praise, my waffling, no, I don't think they should. I think they need to focus on what's important, what their primary market is, not try and get some handheld device going. At the moment, it looks like Nintendo has that market cornered. It's their share of the market. I guess Sony could try, but for me personally, it would never be my go-to place of gaming. It would always be on my 4K monitor, or hopefully 8K monitor by the time it comes out, maybe even 16K, who knows, that's way off in the future. But so my 4K monitor with my PS5 Pro, we'll stick with that for now. But let me know what you think. Should Sony release a new handheld console? Would it be good? Would it succeed? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time.